Hello, and welcome to the news that didn't make the news. I have not reported any news. Oh, it's probably been close to 4 weeks. In a space of silence and solitude and gratitude, and really deciding how I want to proceed, whether I even do want to proceed. This beautiful place is 3 blocks from my house. Look at that sky. So blue, so beautiful. I know we're going to see a ton of birds back here. I don't feel like showing my face. I'm walking up a huge hill that goes about 1/4 mile. So bear with my breathing here. So much going on, but most of what is going on is a distraction to keep you from knowing what is happening and what is going on internally. Hello, Robin. How are you? Ooh, flowers. So I debate. Am I going to come back? Am I going to make a video? Am I going to show my face? Am I going to continue to tell stories here? Or shall I just leave it behind? Shall I not do it? Shall I not give it energy? Shall I not invest in it? The whole point of the eclipse and the meaning of the eclipse is to take things out of the shadows and bring them into the light. And there are many things that have come up for me. We'll switch this. I'll walk backwards up this gigantuan hill. Many, many things have come to the surface for me. One of the biggest things that has revealed itself in the energy of the eclipse, and we're going straight into another eclipse on the 28th, so that's just a couple days from now. One of the major things, and I'm being just really open and really vulnerable here, that has eclipsed or come to the surface or come into the light for me is not being heard and not being seen. Now, I will say this has been the story for the majority of my life, not being heard and not being seen. But there were a few people in my life that always heard me, that always saw me. And all of those people are gone now. So that's part of the difficulty. The other part is being in public and not being seen and not being heard. This is not just a thing that I'm saying that I'm not heard or felt or seen on social media. It's throughout every part of my life. And in the same time, or at the same time of realizing this, I have become visible to more people recently than ever. I was at the thrift store and I was trying to figure out how I was going to get this 160-pound bookshelf to my house. I had asked the workers there for an Allen wrench, a screwdriver, a tape measure, because I was going to get this beautiful piece of furniture in my car no matter what. When I had walked back over to it, I had my hands on it. It was over my head, probably 6 feet tall. And I was rocking it back and forth, and a man came up to me and said, "Do you need help with something?" And I said, "Yeah, I need to get this back to my apartment complex." And he's like, "My mother's on the other side, but she always told me to do what I could do for people And so I'd be happy to do it for you. But it's interesting, as I said, as this is rising to the surface of being seen, being heard, being felt, being understood by other people is so important. Yet it seemed for so long like it was impossible to find anybody who heard me, impossible to find anybody who understood me. So what I always do is I always acclimate to what I'm seeing or what I'm hearing or what I'm feeling, what I'm experiencing, what the visions are, what the messages are. I don't get a message and then hop on here on social media and just give it to you. I've never done that. And I just feel like the main thing is if I go back and I just sit there and watch the last 3 years of videos I have on YouTube, that the videos already tell you everything from our past, our ancient past, all the way up to the future now. There's nothing that hasn't already been said. How you doing? It's all already been said. And one of the things that it feels like is not really helpful is when, and I love having an interaction with you guys and being social with people, but it's like the only time people ever reach out to me is to send me some sorry crap from the Octorians or something from social media. I just 99.9% of the time, I don't want it and I don't care because it's not internal. Now, there are some of you that share things and it is internal. It's from you, but I don't need a message from the Octorians telling me that the instruments are not able to measure what's going on in the energy, because if anybody knew me at all, they would know that I've been saying for over a year and a half now, you cannot feel the intensity of this energy and then jump on social media and find an answer. There is no answer for the energy that can only be measured by the human quantum system that is out there, that is catching on, that is registering. And I explained it like this a long time ago. If there is a solar storm that comes in at 160 hertz or 200 hertz, and I don't know the exact parameters of their tools, but I do know this: if something comes in, at 180 or 200 hertz, it's not going to register or show up until it drops down to the hertz that is the top of that spectrum. So I know many of you know this, but still we continue to look, external, and there are things that are just so incredibly huge that are going on. But I don't know at what point. Do I continue talking about this? Do I stop talking about it? Is there anything left to be said? Because that's kind of where I'm at, and that's kind of how I feel about it. I've been saying this forever, and everybody initially, when they wake up to the strength and the perseverance of this new energy on planet Earth, of course they're going to look at Schumann charts, and of course they're going to read articles and look at it. And I'm not referring to somebody who has just come to that bridge, that understanding, that unique, heartfelt space where they're integrating all of this. I'm not speaking to that person. I'm speaking to the people that have been feeling this and seeing it and knowing it for a very long time. And if an energy comes in at 180 hertz or 200 hertz and it doesn't register until 114, or let's say 114, because it has to drop down to that, And this is the reason why I'm not really paying attention to it and I'm not really looking at it. Um, there's a whole lot of incredible things going on, but here's the biggest thing that I'm noticing, and I am not literally looking at anything external of myself unless one of you send that thing to me, or somebody really close to me sends me something. I will usually entertain it for a moment or two. I want to show you guys real quick that I'm in the middle of two nature preserves, even though I'm in the middle of the city. This place here, which is astronomically beautiful, is about 250 acres, I think. And then it's 3 blocks from me, and 3 blocks the other way from my house is a nature preserve that's 1,500 acres. Yeah, absolutely just huge. So, and absolutely beautiful. And this is where I'd rather be spending my time instead of feeling like I'm talking in circles. And it feels so strange to me when people reach out and say something that I already told them. So maybe we can say this is part and parcel to Mercury retrograde, where people have a hard time listening or understanding, or sometimes people are listening, but they're not really listening. They're just waiting for their turn to respond to you. And that's what it feels like too. But, you know, if I was tech savvy, I'll tell you what I would do right this very moment. I would make a video, I would hack into mainstream media, and I would tell everyone everything is going to be okay. Now, if anybody here remembers that I said, you know, when we're looking at Kali Yugas, when we're looking at endings and beginnings, and we're talking about 26,000 year cycles, I won't go into it because I've been harping on it. I feel like for the past year and a half, I have said for the past year and a half that March 21st was the start of a 26,000 year cycle. That is a big deal. And so I'm here to tell you in this very moment that if I was capable of hacking into the system, the point that I would hack into that system is to tell everybody it's okay. Everything is going to be okay. Not only is your DNA evolving, not only is the 24th genome coming up and online, and it's not like I'm saying to you that this has never happened in the history of mankind, because that's not what I'm saying at all. What I am saying is the information that would tell you that, or point to that, or give you confirmation that that was in actuality what is happening, is not available to most people, or most people don't know where to find that information. So what I'm saying is, it's not that it's never been written about, it's not that it's never been experienced, but we are literally, 2 days, 3 days into the start of a 26,000 year cycle. That's a big deal. And so if I was so inclined, if I was so engineeringly inclined, I would make a video. I would break into every news station on this planet, and I would say, hey, we hit the end of a cycle. This is a big deal. It's normal to feel this way because we have two things going on, okay? Internally in your body, we have things that are happening that, yes, they may have happened before. Something similar may have happened before, but you and I are not privy and don't necessarily have access to ancient scrolls. Now, some of you may be tech savvy enough to find out where those things are. Maybe you're at a high enough advanced level where you can read, understand, and contemplate that. I don't know anybody personally who's doing that. So the information is out there. I'm not telling you that it's not, but for most of us, it's hard to reach, or it's inaccessible, or we know that it's there, but we don't know how to access it. Okay, so there's a lot going on. So basically, we have two sides of polarity from what I can see and what I can comprehend at this moment. We have the side that's literally thrown, instead of taking a strand of spaghetti and throwing it at the ceiling to see if it sticks, to see if it's done, right? It's like they've just made this jumbo pot of witch's brew, right? And they've just thrown the entire thing simultaneously at the ceiling to see what sticks, okay? And I'm as far removed from any news cycle, positive, negative, on world, off world, underground, above ground, mainstream, understream. I'm removed from all of it. Absolutely removed from all of it. But we have the two exact extreme polarities going on. We have the one in which says everything is going to hell in a handbasket, right? The government is doing this, that, and the other. We're being screwed over. We're being taken advantage of. This is the new world order. Okay, that's the start of that. Okay. Everything from that to Social Security is going to be taken away. It doesn't even matter. Even if you had the most evil ruler you've ever seen on this entire existence of planet Earth, they're never going to take Social Security away, you guys. Look at that, some of the evil we've had in power over the years. Social Security is never going to be taken away. Or remember, in this time, in this beginning, couple first days of a new 26,000 year cycle, they are doing everything and anything they can to brand your attention, suck your attention, hold your attention, keep your attention, steal your attention from the incredible magic that is going on inside. Now, I'm not even going to tell you that the incredible magic going on with inside of you feels like magic necessarily, right? Because I just said a few moments ago, coming up that steep hill, that one of the things that's coming up for me is not being heard, not being seen, not being felt. And again, this is something that a way I have felt, I would say, absolutely since I was a child. And because I saw and felt and heard so many things, right? But I had parents who were accepting of that. And there was a guy that I dated, I want to say it was 25, 26 years ago, right? We only dated for a year and a half, but his mom became my surrogate mother. She became, it was like two parts of the same mother. So my own mother, my own mother was very into numerology and astrology and crystals and, all of this stuff, right? That's where I get it. But this person who I dated briefly, his mom was my best friend. For 26 years, almost 27 years, we were best friends. And she was the opposite of mom, not into crystals, not into astrology. She was more into computers. She was into technology. She was into telling me how things were in the real world, how to get ahead. What do you need? How can I assist you? Is there something that you need that to better, further your education, whatever. So they were like complete opposite moms. Okay. So Patty, my logical minded, cerebral mother died last November. And then the other half of my mother, because that's what they were to me, right? So Patty died in November 8th of last year. I'm sorry, the year before last. And then my mom died on November 23rd. So they died 11 months apart, the two other hemispheres of my brain, like the logical cerebral angel on one side and the spiritual feeling mother on the other side, right? And then I've had a couple of close relationships in the last 8 years, and every single time, and I know I shouldn't say this, but it has to be said because this is where the not feeling, not heard, not being seen comes from. Every time I feel extreme closeness to another individual's soul, they literally walk out of my life and slam the door in my face, never to be bothered again. And that's been super hard too. And I know this is something that we've all experienced. It's happened several times to me, right? And it's not just It happens with men, it happens with women. It's just there's no, it doesn't matter whether it's masculine and feminine. It only matters that we're talking the deepest soul connections I ever remember having on this planet that are connected to other past lives, not only on this planet but other planets. That makes it also difficult to speak as well. And when people reach out to me, it's like they want to know, is this true? Is this happening? Are we losing Social Security? Is this guy really an evil guy who wants to, you know, whatever? The agenda, it just goes on and on and on and on and on. But I seemingly don't want any part of it at this point. I don't know. Like I said, I think it's been a month since I made a video until I saw the two hawks outside. I don't know what the point is of having this conversation with any of you. Now, one thing I will say is I know that there are a few of you that it's very helpful to, and I know that it's very helpful to do it myself. But in some circumstances and in some instances, it feels like the soulmate or the twin flame that showed up who, you know, bears their soul and slams their door in the face. And it's like many days I feel like this channel is that same way. And I just don't feel like I want to invest in that anymore. It's a big part of what's going on for me. Wow. Now let me show you what just came through. And then when I look over here, how perfectly symbolic. Let me see if we can make that a little bit bigger. So what I was going to say is, it's like this big family tree, right? I get incredibly close to these beautiful, loving connections, and they just slam the door in my face, right? And here's your perfect synchronicity. If you can see the tree root that is there, that's a really old tree, and it's been just completely, the whole tree has been separated. In fact, the tree goes all the way up here, right next to where I am. And goes all the way down there, but it's like every time I try, it gets disconnected, and I don't want to feel disconnected anymore. That's bizarre. I'm just now, yeah, thank you for that, saying don't worry, just place your hand on your chest and say everything will be all right. That's the thing, you guys. I don't just come here and just spit out words for some kind of popularity contest. I say what's in my heart. I have always said what's in my heart. And when you don't see me for a couple of days, it's because I am doing exactly that. I've had my hand on my heart. I tell myself every day, no matter what the circumstances that present themselves that day, everything's going to be all right. Everything is always working out for me. And it's still not making, it's not, like I said, I don't know if this is the end of this channel. I just don't want to listen to the separation. It's like I've been talking and writing about the split for many, many years now, and it's split a while ago. And I feel like even the short time I spend on social media, it's like, how do I even describe it? It's like there's a huge disconnect. We have a whole bunch of people shoving all this stuff in other people's faces, trying to wake them up. But and here's where it goes back to not being seen and not being heard. And I'm sure that I'm, you know, probably the millionth person on this planet to say it, but there's nothing you can do to wake up your parents or your children or your spouse. There's no way. You can hold someone's hand and be empathetic, and you can pray for them and send them, you know, good vibes, good energy and love and healing and all of that. But you can't wake someone up. Right? And all I see two major breaks. I see the people that are just regurgitating stuff all day long, still hoping to wake people up. But the biggest reason two reasons not to do that. One, once you have learned something and once you've shared it for a certain amount of time, internally your clock's going to say, okay, Tina, okay, Jim, you've shared that for this long. It's time to move on to the different thing, right? We go to kindergarten, we go to first grade, we go to second grade. We keep progressing. We don't stay stuck, or we shouldn't stay stuck in doing a certain thing. If the whole effing planet doesn't know about pedophilia right now, it's not my problem, nor is it my responsibility. And so, especially with Facebook, that's, I would say, 60% sponsored advertisement crap, people that are paying for this or paying for that. It's this big, just either boom on people trying to wake people up, or people that just show up just solely so they can disagree with other people. Okay, it's time for us to shed our skin. Now, everybody needs to know and understand that there is corruption on this planet. As I always say, you can't fix anything, right? You're not going to put a Band-Aid on your finger unless you see the scrape, right? Unless it hurts, unless you see the blood. You don't get the Band-Aid. You don't wash your hand. You don't pour peroxide on it. If you don't see the wound, you can't fix it. But doesn't mean we stay stuck in this forever. There are so many things internally that are upgrading and updating themselves. It's astronomical. One of the things is, and I had been going through something very, very bizarre. Okay. My right eye was itching. It was puffy. It was red. And I'm left-handed, right? So left-handed people tend to use the right side of the brain more often. Right-handed people tend to use the left side of the brain more often. Okay, the right side of the brain is creativity and innovation, going with the flow, intuition, whatever. Okay, the left side of the brain is logical. It's practical. It's taking steps and making goals and having plans. So when I had a reading, here's what I noticed, and it was very interesting. So while I was having an issue with my right eye, and that would be right side of the face, right side of the body. So that creative spark, that direction, that intuitive go with the flow. The person that I had a reading with had the issue was in the left eye, and she's right-handed. Okay. So what I realized, because I had been in the midst of processing this for, I would say, I don't know, a couple of days, what is going on with my eye? Now, I've had so many strange things go on with these, with the ascension symptoms and with the influx and change in solar cycle and everything. I don't get too freaked out when crazy shit happens, but it was my right eye that was acting weird. Stimulation on the right side, the right brain, the creative, right, the non-logical, the non-cerebral side, the imagination side. So the person I did a reading for, it was the exact opposite. But the thing that was the same was that we were both seeing things out of the corner of her eye. So this started happening, I think, 2 weeks ago for me, and I was out walking, and it startled me because I walk super fast. So I'm either running, walking super fast, or walking normal. I just keep going back and forth between those three modes. I stopped and I was walking slowly, and I saw something so big out of the corner of my eye, it startled me. I half expected a person to be standing there. I'm in Ohio, so I knew it wasn't a bear or a lion or anything crazy, but I half expected a person, and a large person, like a tall man, to be standing there. And so it startled me, and it's happened a couple times out walking, but it was happening all day long for, I would say, probably roughly a week, that where I would keep seeing things out of the corner of my left-hand eye. Now, this is something I've done for decades, so it's not like, oh, wow, this is so freaky, I can't handle it kind of thing, right? Something pops up every once in a while. It's there. It's off of your, out of your, kind of off to the side of your peripheral vision. No big deal, right? But this was big. It was a lot bigger, and it kept happening all day long, and it was only happening on the left side of the body. It was only happening with the left eye, while the right eye was going through what I can only assume was some sort of recalibration or something like that. So within the last couple weeks, and it's going to depend where you are on the spectrum, this could have happened to you 3 or 4 weeks ago. This could be happening to you as you're listening to me speak to you about it. This could happen to you in a couple weeks from now. There's a pulsing within the eye. There's a slight soreness within an eye. Again, only one eye. And from the other people that I've talked to, the only thing I can deduce is if you are left-handed, the major reaction, the major upgrade, it happens in the right eye. And if you are right-handed, it would be in the left eye. Now, I am left-handed, so it was all on the right. The person that I had the reading with was right-handed, and hers was all on the left. But as I said, some kind of ocular upgrade, right? And so with her, she was experiencing the exact same thing, keep seeing stuff. Now, I was seeing it in my apartment as well, except for it didn't startle me in my apartment. It only startled me when I was running to see something that large just appear out of nowhere, right? In my apartment, I'm in there, I'm by myself, the door is locked. So when I saw something out of the corner of my eye, I did realize it was energetic as we're outside. You're walking around. It's not going to be a bear or a lion, as I said, in the area where I live, but it could be a person or a deer or squirrels running through the tree playing, whatever. So I don't know what I'm going to do. And the reason why I'm even being vulnerable enough to tell you that I don't feel heard and that I don't feel seen, and that every time I have this connection that someone just slams the door in my face, usually by a series of ghosting, and then I have to go back and ask, what happened? I don't understand. This doesn't make sense. I don't want to go through that anymore. I'm not going to go through that anymore. But the thing is, I don't know. I know it does help a handful of people because you have reached out to me, and I know it's helpful for me to just sit here. When you sit there alone in meditation or dialogue or reading or having your quiet time, oftentimes you'll have a thought and then you'll think about it, or you'll look something up, or you'll delve into it. Your mind wanders down some rabbit hole, right? But the thing that's so good about this form of expression for me is I don't do that. I'm not going to stop and put the phone down and question myself or, whatever. I'm just going to keep talking myself through it. So it's very beneficial to me. And like I said, the eclipse is all about the revelation of things. Now, did I know previously that I didn't feel heard or seen? That started at a very young age, but since I had, parents and a couple of really close friends that did hear me and did see me, I haven't felt like that in a really long time. But as I said, I lost both of those mothers, 11 months apart. Gosh, that's crazy. But I want to say it's like 11 months and 11 days apart. Between losing those two people, and I still have my dad, and I can talk to him about all of this, and that's really awesome. But there's nobody else, and I'm starting to feel like a stranger in a strange land. It's so bizarre, and I do tell you that I'm 54 years old, and out of my adult life, the relationships that I've in home, like significant other relationships that I've had in 30 being adult, has been 4 years spent living, cohabitating, existing, with another person in my presence. 4 years. Okay. So the other 30 years completely by myself, meditating, walking, running, swimming, all this stuff. This is what I've done. My entire life. Hi, Scott. Nice to see you. So I don't know what's going to happen with the channel, and I don't know what the point of it is, because you know what? I'd rather not be heard and not be seen and not be felt than be seen, be heard, be felt, and have the door slammed in my face again. And I don't know why it's such a trigger. And I even thought about, unfortunately, I'm not tech savvy enough that I feel like take care of anything. I did a show with Paul, and really wanted to post that to my channel. It talked about intuition and how it even affects us all the way up to adulthood and our sexuality. But I just couldn't, just not tech savvy enough to figure out how to make that happen. And he was offering people to go live and do a video with him for a one-on-one coaching session to be able to help him. And sorry guys, I don't pay much attention to the comments anyway, but it's really bright and I'm sitting in the woods on a tree with my eyes closed. He was offering to do a session with people. And he was offering to the benefit of, the other person, walking him through and coaching him through things. But also so the people that watched it later could hear that person being walked through and coached. And I really liked that idea. And I thought about signing up for it. Because I really, at 54 years old, I don't know what to do. I'm so open and so honest and so vulnerable all the time. And I don't know where it is, what happens, but it's so weird when you have this conversation with someone and they turn around and send you a video like from the Arcturians, for example, saying that everything that you already said in a video a year and a half ago. So I don't know what it is. There's a lot of confusion and a lot of chaos. That's the only reason I'm here. As I said earlier, I know I'm skipping around a lot, but when you start seeing articles about, there's not going to be any Social Security anymore, you have to look at how long Social Security has been here, how many evil people have been in power, and it's never ever going to go away. All the things I said about finances, all the things I said about money and gold-backed currencies and market crashings and all of that stuff, I very much believe it's going to happen. But we are at the crescendo of this event, and so hardly anything that's coming out is real and truthful. Now, when I say that, people come at me and say, but this person's knowledgeable and this person's truthful, and they really do have humanity's best interest at heart. And I would say to you, that's true. There are many, many people just like you and just like I who are trying to walk people through and trying to be helpful and trying to, share things, whether it's personal or other kinds of information that comes to it. But you have to think about, look at Benjamin Fulford or David Wilcock, or you could take anybody like that and say, especially someone that's writing, trying to decide, okay, I'm writing this article, I'm doing this podcast. Do I throw in there what Scott told me? Because is it true? I don't know if it's true because there's so much information. So do keep in mind when you're listening to anything underground, whether it's me or anybody else that's really putting out the effort to really just be of assistance in a transparent way, that when something comes through to me, I have to decipher and decide how I'm going to deliver it to you. Same with Ben Fulford or David Wilcock or anybody else that is not just deciphering their own intuition, their own feelings, their own information or vision and messages, but also, it doesn't happen with me because I don't have that large following like that, but it happens with a lot of those people that a lot of you are tuning into. They're going to talk about what they're getting, what they know to be true. And then they're going to tell you something that maybe they heard from Tina Hammond, or maybe they heard from Corey Good, or maybe someone sent them an anonymous email and told them something. And they don't know if that thing is the true, but they have to decide whether. Okay. It's really bright back here and I can't tell. Looks like my video has ended, but let me get into the shade. Okay. I guess I'm still, okay, there we go. Sorry, I'm still here. So just remember, and don't say, oh, well, I've always listened to this guy, Dan, and now all of a sudden, Dan's information feels like it's great, but then he's saying, oh, we're not, so security's coming to an end, or, whatever thing they might be saying as a sidebar. Someone has given them that and they have to decide whether they're going to put it out. Now with me, I may have a vision or I may get something personally, and then I have to figure out how to translate it. And because everything that happens to me personally as part of the collective consciousness, as part of the spiritual etheric realm that I am, is going to happen to you. It's just a matter of what is the timing on that thing, right? So I rarely come on here and
give you the movie or the snapshot into my personal life, but I do take those visions and those messages, and I have to then, like I said, translate how that affects you, because it's the same energy for you. It just may not be the same person or the exact same situation. It's like, let's say letting go is is the theme. So for one person, it could be letting go of alcohol. For another person, it could be letting go of an abusive spouse. For somebody else, it could be letting go of a job. And that's why I try not to be too specific about things, and I try to really just give you guys, here's what the energy actually is. And I don't want to stay here forever, but I do want to say thank you very much to the people who don't send me crap. I appreciate it. Now, take that with a grain of salt, because every once in a while, someone who doesn't normally send me things sends me something, and that thing was already on my mind. I was already thinking about that thing, or I was already tapping into that information. So I'm not saying that every time someone sends me something, I'm like, oh my God, please stop. But I will tell you that 80% of the time, that's exactly how I'm feeling. That's exactly what I'm thinking. And that's exactly what I want to say to you. And I try to be so nice about it, but, you know, it's hard sometimes. I don't want the external, because externally, nobody knows what is happening. Okay. There are people who have insight into it. Yes. They have parts and pieces of insight, right? There has been so much that has come up in the last couple weeks. This is one of the reasons I haven't made a video, right? Besides, sometimes I just feel like I don't want people to see me, or I don't want particular people to see into me. That is a part of it as well. Um, but like I said, I don't have a vision and then get on here and make a video 30 seconds later. I sit with that information. It could be days, sometimes it's weeks. A little kid is yelling, hello, hello. Can't see him. I'm down on the school's property back in the woods. But anyway, there's a lot. And I know that we want to understand. Our human curiosity sometimes gets the better of us. We want to know sometimes why someone slammed the door in our face. Sometimes we want to know why this space weather feels absolutely insane and no one's reporting anything. But I will just keep telling you for the duration of this channel that you are the most advanced technology. So if something bounces in on the scale at 180 hertz or 200 hertz, and you're like, whoa, bing, 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 bing. And then you look, and even when it does come in, it only came in at 80, or it only came in at 140. So two things. The Schumann resonance instruments are close to 200 years old, if not 200 years old, right? So they're completely outdated for this solar cycle, period, end of story. That's part of it. Part of it is there has never been so many people looking, right? The Schumann resonance and all these things that have existed for so long on the internet that nobody ever paid attention to. Now you got thousands, maybe millions of people looking at things, which also makes them want to skew the information as well. Okay. Because they want you to think that you're just losing your mind, that you're just losing control of yourself. You're losing control of yourself. You're losing control of your faculties. You're losing control of your family. You're losing control of your job, your health, your money. Everything is out of control. That's how they're going to keep spinning this, is that everything is out of control. This hill is seriously slick. It rained for like 18 hours. And these are some steep steps. But how they want it to appear to you is that everything in your world is completely and totally out of control. Now, when the Schumann resonance comes in big, or space weather comes in big, or there's a lot of other things besides the Schumann resonance that has a lot to do with how you're feeling, that there's the hill we just walked up, that we don't even know about. We feel it. Our own personal heart and our personal radar feels it, but we're not being given any information. Okay. So we have to sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. That's the only thing I can say, because there's nothing else we can do. And like I said, I debated coming here. Everything on social media looks like a giant fist fight to me right now. Excuse me. And I don't want to be any part of that. I really don't. And when an energy comes in, say I'm out taking a walk 2 years ago, and an energy comes in and I feel it. I feel into it. I take my shoes off. I walk around and I'm deciphering that energy. That may take a day or two to decipher. But what's been happening for the last several weeks hasn't even fully been deciphered. I can tell you for sure that there is definitely an ocular upgrade. Hi.
Where do you want to go now?
Hi.
Where go to?
It's muddy down there.
It's muddy down there.
So, yeah, he was a little bit too. He's got his wheels. He could slide forever down there. So, yeah, didn't kind of want to throw my 2 cents to it and muddy the waters, because I feel like everything that's being done right now is to muddy the waters. And again, not every person is doing this intentionally. They're really not. There are a lot of good-hearted people out there doing their best, giving you information and lots of directions. Okay. But I know that so many people are like, oh my God, why do I feel like this? Why is this? Everything feels so scary to so many people. And you guys, I don't even talk to that many people. And I had 2 instances in the same day where it was like only what I could describe. The closest thing I can describe it to is talking someone off a ledge. Okay. And these are people that already know what's going on. And I still felt like they had to be talked off the ledge, okay? One thing is the body is processing energy. If you got up in the morning and you started working out and you did yoga and then you did qigong and then you went for a run, then you went for a swim and then you played racquetball, then you played volleyball, you would understand why you are so hungry all the time, okay? Now, this waxes and wanes. You could go back and forth between not wanting to eat at all and wanting to eat everything. It's not nailed down. What I'm saying is, if you were an athlete and you got up and you went through those athletic parts of your day like that every day, you'd be like, oh my God, I need so many calories and all this fat. I need all this protein, right? All this stuff. But you don't, because you're like, well, yeah, I did take a walk or I did swim today or whatever, but there's no reason for this amount of hunger. It's because you cannot see what is happening on the inside of your body, right? When you move, the energy in your torus field moves, right? Creates more energy, lets old energy, stagnant energy out, brings new energy in. A lot of times what we fail to realize, though, is because we don't see it. Because if we look back at the example and say, well, I got up and I did yoga and qigong and I did all this exercise and I did all this stuff, it's no wonder I'm starving. But now you may not be doing anything, or you may not be doing any more than you ever did, or you're maybe not working out for 8 hours a day like I just described. But your body says, I need more fuel, because internally there is a spin going on that you can't see. And so, I mean, I can't see what's going on inside my body either, but I can feel it. And I just have to say to people at some point, okay, so if the worst of your problems today is the fact that you can't stop eating and, oh my God, you had chocolate cake and you don't know, well, I don't normally eat sugar or wheat either, but it's like, it doesn't matter. Me and my neighbor went to this fish fry. Oh my God, I couldn't move for like 4 hours later. Macaroni and cheese was so full of oil, and they had like 3 desserts and all this other stuff. And I fast every day till Whew, the earliest I ever eat is 3. Sometimes I wait till 6 o'clock. So somewhere between 3 and 6 is the first time I eat all day. And I had just eaten soup, homemade soup, and then an hour later went to the fish fry and had 3 desserts and 2 pieces of fish and 2 cups of macaroni and cheese, right? I don't know where I'm putting it. Certainly not on my certainly not on my back end. But anyway, if that's the least thing we have to worry about, we just shouldn't worry about it. So what? You're hungry. It's like if you saw a rabbit or a squirrel and they were like, oh, I need to, they're looking for 10 times as many nuts in a day as they normally do. You think they're thinking about you think the squirrel's worried about thick thighs or the rabbit's worried about not looking attractive during mating season? Animals just do what they're prompted to do without questioning it. And unfortunately, sometimes it's fortunate, but it's mostly unfortunate right now that people are looking at this and going, oh my gosh, I'm eating so much. What am I going to do? Am I going to be unattractive in mating season? Using that for an example, but that's what it feels like. The body wants more food because even though you're not, as the example said, doing calisthenics or exercise for 8 hours, your body is moving that much internally. And when you're moving and your temperature is fluctuating that much in the body, that is burning calories. So does it matter whether you're burning calories writing a blog, running on a treadmill, or sleeping? It doesn't, but your body is processing so much, okay? And the biggest reason why they're throwing the whole pot of witch's stew at the ceiling to see what sticks, as I said earlier, so to speak, is because there is a part of this group that is in the know about what is happening in the physical body, and so they want to just throw you off as hard and as much as you can. Throw you off again. So you worry about your money, worry about Social Security, worry about this, worry. That's it. And it's just a non-stop worry. What a beautiful tree. Wow. So yeah, I don't want to be on here for very long. I just want to tell you where I was. I've been gone. I haven't made a video, and I know it's been at least 3 weeks. Maybe it's been longer than that. 2 people reached out to me to make sure that I was okay and probably still alive, and I do appreciate those people. And again, something amazing comes along and you want to send it to me, I'm fine with that. But 90% of what people are sending me is the very thing that I don't want any part to do with, or something that I already made a video about 6 years ago. I would love it if there would be a group of people that could just catch up with where we are in the now moment, and how can we be peaceful when whatever's going on internally that would be burning so many calories that you couldn't stop eating. Now, like I said, I'm not talking to that many people right now, but I'm talking to enough people to know that every single person I've talked to is either goes through this phase of not hungry at all, and or then eating as much as they possibly can. Basically eating everything that's not nailed down. I think we'll just go down these steps and back into the woods. Hello, Squirrelio. So, I know the few people that I've talked to about this, your body is an intelligence, right? So your body's intelligence says, hey, eat more food, eat some chocolate cake. I know you don't normally do it. Eat this, right? Have more protein. Have more citrus, whatever it is. We're not all identical, okay? But if we didn't have that reptilian mindset, we wouldn't even worry about it. We would just say, I'm hungry, I'm going to eat more. God, I really want cake. I haven't had cake in, a year. And just do it. And we don't need to worry. We don't need to worry about it. There's so much upgrading and so much updating within the system. And I know that it can feel like you're not in control of your body. You're not in control of your mind, your love life, your finances. Trust me, I get it. That's why I've been absent, right? Again, as to say it more than one time here, I do not get a message about something and just come on here and start talking. I don't do that. I sit with it, and I sit with it for as long as it takes. Okay. And so I've been sitting with this eclipse energy for 3 weeks now. Okay. And instead of always thinking we're sick and thinking this is wrong and that's wrong and all these things are wrong with us, we have to treat things. Oh my gosh. Oh, that tree's been there for like, over 25 years and it fell over. Wow. We have to treat ourselves and our symptoms, whatever's going on. Okay. You get a runny nose. So instead of thinking, oh, I've got COVID, I've got this, I've got that, just drink lemon water, right? I've got indigestion, I'm having whatever. Just make yourself some ginger tea. What we're supposed to do, we know how to take care of ourselves. When a symptom arises, we just do, right? Okay. And the whole reason I'm saying this is if you have a runny nose or if you have something going on and you sit and think, oh, it could be this, it could be this, it could be this, not only will you drive yourself crazy, the moment you take action, which could be lemon water, ginger tea, whatever, you put your mind at rest because something came up, right? And you took care of it. You did something about it. But if you just sit there and worry about it, it never makes things any better. It never gets any better. Your mind is not going to solve anything for you, just the act of doing it. Because if you had a symptom and you're like, okay, I'm going to have my lemon water now, and you had your lemon water and it only partially went away, or you noticed another symptom, then you take care of that other symptom. That's the only thing you can do. And I think we all have the basic health information. I made like a 2-hour health video just for this reason on all the things that you could do for minor and some major health issues. Little buddy, what happened to you? Wow. Can you see? This has been here since I very first moved to Northside. When would that have been? My son would have been 2 years old. 1996. Look at this tree. You have been there forever. We have had crazy wind here. Oh, that's really weird. I didn't see. It looked like nobody was commenting. Oh, hey, James. Yeah, the comments just stopped, so I just figured either something was wrong as per usual, or no one was commenting. Really, a spam call in the middle of a video? That's crazy. Hello, Rennie. Yeah, roller coaster is the best way to describe it. Now, I'd said this for a really, really long time. I guess we're going to have to do the limbo to get into this tree. You poor little baby. Ugh. Wow. Guess the students all have to crawl under it. What happened? Oh, they had a smiley face on this. It had been marked to be taken down. You know what? The tree just decided, forget you guys. I'm going to take myself down. Oh, yeah, because they just come in and cut things down. They don't do what that tree did. Said, nope, I'll just take myself out. You're not going to take me out. Wow. Anyway, there's a lot going on with your body, so just try the best you can. Take care of your simple symptoms. Most importantly, refrain from judging the fact that you want chocolate cake or whatever it is that you want, whatever it is that you need. I mean, the rabbits and squirrels, they're not doing that. They're just giving themselves what they need and they're being done with it. Instead of using that logical mind to over process absolutely everything that's going on. Again, the witch's brew being thrown at the ceiling. It doesn't take a whole lot for people to be thrown off. Wow, this one's marked to be taken down too. Oh, I boycott. Why would they take that down? That's crazy, you guys. And here's the oldest one. If you can see how big this is. Look at this tree. Here, you can't see how big that is, but let me show you my foot in comparison. Look how big that tree is. That's wild. So I wanted to come and kind of explain to you why I haven't been here. I don't know that this channel is going to continue because, like I said, when the when you have 2 eclipses in a row, and we're getting ready to have the second one in a couple of days, it brings things to light. And what has been brought to light is the fact that I don't know how helpful it is to internally feel like I'm not seen and I'm not heard, and then try to share things in a way where, again, not seen and not heard. And like I said, this was something that I thought was gone a long time ago. And in many ways, it had been gone a long time ago. But there's been some door slamming in the face in the last couple years. There's been a lot of death in the family in the last couple years as well. And it really hasn't helped. Plus, when I go out, I am literally physically invisible until, I would say, the last week. And this is something that kind of does wax and wane, and kind of has waxed and waned throughout my entire life. But, you know, the thing that I feel most is that I have said it all. Everything that's going on now, I feel like there's nothing left. If I look at the archive of my videos, even what's going on now, I talked about so long ago. And I'm just the person, and it's just a personal thing with me, that I don't like. There are a couple things like drinking water, for example. What's the other thing? Oh, that your body is the most advanced technology on the planet. So there's a couple things. But in general, I won't come on here, and once I've said something, I won't go back to it. I won't keep talking about it. Like, it's already there. It's already in the archive. Like, everything has already, in my opinion, done both a 180 and a 360, right? We've started, we've changed, we've gone through a process. We're completely different, and then we go completely back to where we started. Yeah, so I don't know. Like I said, to me, everything has already been said. And sometimes I feel like to pay attention to any more of it, to give it any more energy, is disrupt. It's just disruptive, I guess, is the word that fits it best. And it's so bizarre. And I know that, you know, people don't take things seriously if you say something and, you know, you got to wait 2 years for it to happen, or 3 years for it to happen. And I think that's just part of the not feeling heard, not feeling seen. And as we speak, someone's sending me crap through Messenger, someone who I've asked multiple times not to. So that just, I don't know. I don't know what I want to do. I mean, I do know what I want to do. That's not really true. I mean, if I had my choice, I think I would just get a couple animals and sit in a hut somewhere close to the water and just take dance classes and not be involved in it, not care about any of it. Because, again, it's just like pedophilia or anything else. You know it, you study it, you share it. You know it, you study it, you share it. You know it, you study it, you share it. Then you graduate, and then you're done, and it's time to move on from something else. And I just honestly don't know what I can share that has any kind of meaning anymore at all, because it's all already been shared, and it's just finally now happening. But I feel like I could say it a million times and people would still be like, oh my God, look at what's going on. Trump did this and Elon did that and Hillary did this 30 years ago. And I don't give a shit. I just don't care. Okay. I know they did it. I probably even shared that they did it for a long time in many directions, but I'm just done with it. This cannot be all that there is to just keep looking and waiting for the change that, and I'm not saying I'm the only one. There's thousands of us, hundreds of thousands of us talking about the changes and the information and all that. I just don't know if I want to have anything to do with it anymore. The only thing I really want is just to be an absolute peace. Peace in my body, peace in my mind, peace in my spirit, peace in my job, peace in my relationship. I don't want anything that's not peaceful. And I won't call myself a coach, and I never had, but as a tarot reader and as a person that helps people with intuitive readings and all kinds of other stuff, I don't know. I don't know what else. There's got to be something else, because everybody that I know that's even on social media a little bit right now, even the most stable grounded people I've known, everyone is so riled up, so completely riled up. I haven't even been talking to my own family. I can't, like, everything is a trigger. Look at the blue sky. Look at the pollutionless blue sky. That's a trigger. How dare you? I remember one time 20 years ago when you told me about chemtrails that weren't true, right? So it's like everything is a trigger, and I feel bad for ignoring people on multiple levels due to that. But oh wow, I've been here over an hour and I haven't been really looking. Yeah, that's true, James. A lot of long-running distortion fields are starting to glitch. And so that's the last thing I want to say is I have been talking about for a very long time. We are, and I have to remind myself of this, even in Mercury retrograde, because it doesn't take you out, but it does present some difficulty when writing and blogging and making videos, right? Because it has it's mercurial, right? Meaning the way it interacts with how we speak and how we write, how computer tech systems work and all that. So it does play a role. The energy definitely does play a role here, and the distortion is real and the distortion is true. There is no doubt about that. Hi, Stacy. How are you? Yeah. So while we are, because of all this stuff I said internally that's happening, we are recalibrating to what's happening. Okay. It is a cellular intelligence, okay, which is separate from your brain. Okay, your reptilian brain might tell you, I don't really feel like doing this. I think I'll stay up all night, or I don't want to get into a relationship where I might have to feel too much, or might have to give too much, or I might be afraid that I might be hurt. Like, the brain gets involved in all sorts of crazy stuff, right? But the cellular part of our body does not. Now, of course, what we go through, how we talk to ourselves, has a great deal to do with that. But our cellular intelligence says, wait, this is where we are. This is the energy where we are in, right? Hence the ocular update and all the other things that are going on. So though your brain may say, I don't feel like doing this right now, your cellular, and you can postpone things that way, of course. How we talk to ourselves and other people, we can postpone these great changes. But at a cellular level, the cellular intelligence does what it does based on energetic influence of the earth, of the people around you, of the energy in your auric field. It just does it. And again, you can slow it down or whatever, but this ocular change is happening. All these great beneficial changes are happening for humanity and all of sentient life, animals, plants, everything, absolutely everything is changing. The human is the only one that's resistant. To this change. But the cellular intelligence does not revolve around the brain deciding that it's going to be in a healthy relationship or deciding it's going to invite these, upgrades or deciding it's going to send out an invitation to turn on the 24th genome, right? Our cellular intelligence, which is where that ocular update is coming from, does not relying on the saying, well, I accept this or I don't accept this. Again, you can slow things down and, you can get in your own way. And I think after being here for over an hour, I think the biggest thing here is figure out whatever way is the best way for you to get out of your own effing way. Okay? And I know it's hard, but we spend a lot of time getting in our own way. Oh, my heart really wants to do this, but I can't do this. This logically doesn't make sense, whatever it is. So I'm telling you, your fight is the fight within self. My body wants this. My heart wants this. I want to be in peace. I want to be in joy. I want to be in love, but I can't do this. I can't do this. I can't do these things. I couldn't possibly do these things. And so then this internal fight where your cells are going, woohoo, look at all this fun, crazy stuff that's happening. Yes. We're on with it, right? So then you're just getting in this fight with yourself where your brain is trying to overrule what this cellular intelligence is doing, including the ocular upgrade and anything else that might be happening to you. Sorry about this choppy moving around the camera. So that would be, wow, and I said that it was 11111. Yes, that is a wake-up call. What is going on within you when you allow the brain to get involved, right? The body says, I want chocolate cake, right? Are you going to disrupt and say, no, can't have chocolate cake. That's not good for you. That's too many calories. That's why I won't look good in my bikini. All bullshit, right? Total bullshit. So the ocular upgrade, the cellular intelligence wants to fully be in charge of running the show. And technically it is, but your brain can stop it and your brain can slow it down. And you can look at all the ways that you yourself are getting in your own way, or you can take a deep breath. I do 4 types of breathing a day, every single day, so that I can ease past the mind saying, oh, that's not a good idea. What made you think that was a good idea? Where did that come from? All of that stuff, right? So, lest we figure out the ways that we can get out of our own way. And so we can be more in flow, because when we are in our own way, we are not in alignment with the intelligent design or the intelligent plan that we ourselves came up for ourselves. I know people want to believe that God had a plan for you, but here's the plan, right? Whoever created you, your higher self, the highest version of you, the part that doesn't overthink it and over drill it and get in its own way, that is God. Your higher self is one with the source, God, creator of this universe. Now, if you and I and everyone else could just figure out how to get out of our own way, everything would be absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for being here. Whether I return or not, we shall see. But I love and appreciate the support from everyone here. Thank you so much and have a beautiful rest of your day. Bye.